Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Boy, has it been an intense day today. I released a video on the tense relationship between the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and President Trump. There's certainly no love lost between them. I released a detailed video on the Problem Solvers Caucus and their proposal, which I thought was a pretty good proposal. And then I released a video breaking the news that the Democrats had soundly rejected the entire proposal. Their verdict was that it was simply not enough for us with the way things are right now. They felt that more needs to be done in order to be able to help the economy. So hopefully you've been following those videos. Listen, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to give you truth because I know you can handle it. And I'm always going to be honest with my viewers and subscribers. I'm never going to just make up stuff and give you false hope because I think we're all adults. I think we can all handle it. Now, let me be honest. Would I like to talk about sunshine and rainbows? Of course I would. Would I like to be, do I want to drink a glass of wine with you guys and just sit back and, talk about other things as opposed to this? Of course I would. But, the things that are going on up in DC, they make me scratch my head. And I think the more I do these videos, the more sort of white my hair will turn. By the way, let me tell you what I'm going to talk about in this video. Some news has just come in that there is a possible link between a government shutdown deal that is being struck as we speak and future stimulus. Now, again, I want to be straight with you. The chances of future stimulus at this point are very slim. But I think as responsible citizens, as concerned citizens, we need to know what's going on. The truth is, my viewers and my subscribers, everybody commenting, we're all concerned about, the next stimulus check, the extension of unemployment benefits. But guess what? The Democrats and the Republicans are thinking about the election. They're thinking about avoiding a government shutdown because, it will impact the election. And that's not something that any of us want to happen. And the Democrats are actually thinking of what will happen post-election. What is the president likely to do post-election? In fact, there's a fear amongst the Democrats, and this has been reported by Politico, that the president might shut down the government post-election. I mean, this is what they're concerned about. Again, this is reporting by Politico. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the link between a possible government shutdown, which again is sort of possible but unlikely, and future stimulus money and the Democrats' post-election fears. And I'll also give you some more information about the White House's reaction, specifically White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows' reaction to the Problem Solvers Caucus bill, which again was soundly rejected by the Democrats. But, this may or may not surprise you, but Mark Meadows liked it. He said, hey, it's a good proposal and it's something that should hopefully get us back to the table. But guess what? It's not going to go anywhere. Despite the fact that it had promise and there was a framework there for us to be able to maybe go forward as a country. So here's what's going on right now. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is working with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on how long to fund the government after the fiscal deadline of September 30th. Now, it has been reported that right around September 22nd is when we can expect some decisions, some actual progress about the funding of the government post September 30th. So right now there are two general options that exist. The first is that, the government funding can be extended to sometime in the month of December. And according to Politico, this would make the most sense, and a mid-December expiration would give a little bit of post-election breathing room for lawmakers. In other words, let's assume, the Senate changes hands or the presidency changes hands post-election. Then, that would give them room to come to some sort of a consensus if the government was funded till mid-December. And I'll tell you why this is important in just a second. It would also give Congress a chance to try and create some more stimulus relief for this calendar year towards the end of the year. So, there could be some more breathing room, if you will. In other words, if there's government funding until the middle of December, then that would provide some extra time to potentially come up with more stimulus relief between now and the middle of December. Now, the downside, and this is the tricky part, what if the election is not decided? And by that time now, the year that this has been, we don't want an undecided election in the middle of December. No. By the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed, when I'm under a little bit of stress, or when I'm giving you guys news that I don't like, I actually laugh. That's my stress release. So when I laugh, it's not because I'm minimizing something. It's because it's my way of dealing with news that is intense and news that is hard to deliver, because I understand the gravity of what I'm saying to my viewers and subscribers. Lives are at stake here. This is not a game, and this is not something we do for fun. I value your trust in me. I value you following this channel, and I want to give it to you straight, but I guess I'm injecting a part of my personality into it. So the downside is, if by the middle of December the election is not decided. By the way, I did do another video on election day potentially turning into election week, so definitely check out that video. If the election is undecided by the middle of December, lawmakers may be hesitant to engage in big ticket legislation at that time. And some Democrats are actually concerned that the president could shut down the government if things aren't going his way. And that is something that, this is actually a scenario that was raised in a closed door, no staff meeting by Connecticut Democrat Rosa DeLauro. And she said it is not a hypothetical. There's an actual concern amongst the Democrats that the president might do something like that in the middle of December. Again, this is a Democratic concern. So this is something they're actually talking about. And this is, Politico calls it a real life governing challenge that Democrats believe that they're going to be forced to confront. Now, the other option is that Congress could extend the funding all the way through February. Now, that's a really long time, because remember, if the funding extends all the way to February, then, I mean, what are we going to do? Postpone stimulus talks all the way through February? Come on. I mean, that is not acceptable. So that's a really long time to wait for another deadline to force some sort of stimulus negotiations, because everything that happens in DC happens around deadlines. The true deadline, honestly, should not have been September 30th. The true deadline should have been the end of July, when the $600 a week booster expired. But guess what? That deadline came and went. I'm not going to get into a blame game about why that deadline came and went. There are two sides to every story, but that should have been the true deadline. Now the deadline is September 30th, and if some stimulus relief isn't negotiated by the end of September, I think it is almost impossible that there will be some stimulus in October, given the fact that the politicians are gearing up, the constituents are gearing up, the country is gearing up for the November election, which is sad and tragic, because that would mean that millions of my fellow Americans would be left behind. But unfortunately, that is where things stand in our country. So if they extend it all the way through February, then, can there still be stimulus relief without a manufactured deadline? Like I said, the deadline could be the middle of December, because the extension of the government funding could go to the middle of December, or could go all the way through to next year, through February. And this manufactured deadline creates some pressure, creates an incentive for Congress, for both the House and the Senate, to act on more stimulus relief. Now, could the House and the Senate act on stimulus relief without a manufactured deadline? Yes, they could. But guess what? I'm not giving them that much credit. Are you? I don't mean to laugh. And again, I have to repeat this. I'm not trying to minimize anything, but I guess, as you can see, I'm injecting my personality into these videos, and I hope you guys are okay with it. I try and be as objective and as straight as possible, but there you go. This is affecting all of us, right? So there you go. So now Congress could pass a full year of government funding and more stimulus relief. Congress could do that. But guess what? The two sides aren't really seeing eye to eye. Now, what's interesting, possibly not surprising, is that the White House, specifically the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, likes the Problem Solvers Caucus framework. And he said, the bipartisan solution put forth by the Problem Solvers Caucus is very thoughtful and certainly merits consideration. And while there are some priorities outlined that are inconsistent with the White House's initial proposal, it could provide a basis for further conversations with the Speaker and the leader in the Senate. This is from White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. And two things, I'll leave you with two things that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that are very interesting. She did say, what's a skinny deal? A skinny deal is not a deal, it's a Republican deal. Now, sources close to Speaker Pelosi say she was not referring to the Problem Solvers Caucus. She was instead referring to the piecemeal legislation that Republicans are trying to pass. So what does that mean? Could there be a world in which that framework of the Problem Solvers Caucus, which has been rejected by the Democrats, could there be a framework in which that becomes something that somehow leads to another 1.7, $1.8 trillion proposal that maybe gets accepted by the Democrats? The answer to that question is yes, because House Speaker Nancy Pelosi did not reject, what she rejected was the skinny bill from the Republicans. But if the Republicans, pick up the phone and call Speaker Pelosi and say, hey, listen, let's look at that framework and let's come closer to what you want, which, seems unlikely. But hey, a lot of unlikely things have happened in the last, this year. A lot of things have happened that, would not normally happen. An economic recession, a pandemic, arguments between both parties, name calling, executive orders, the expiration of unemployment benefits, the largest rescue package the country has ever seen, a ballooning of the federal debt. I mean, what else is there? I mean, what else you got to surprise me? What else do you have to surprise us? But I know that some of my viewers and subscribers are losing hope right now. I'm going to teach you on my channel to gain financial freedom and financial independence. If you don't know my story, check out my story. I have the fortune, the honor, the privilege of living the American dream, and I will provide you with a long-term plan to reach financial independence. But from a short-term perspective, we do want the government to come through. So even though House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said a skinny deal is not a deal, she was talking about piecemeal legislation. So I don't think that we can completely shut the doors on the Problem Solvers Caucus plan. And I do believe one part of me, the optimistic part of me, says that there's some aspect of that plan out there in the ether that can maybe materialize into some sort of a discussion for the good of the country, for the good of the people who need it the most. So don't write it out yet. Although for the moment it's not gaining any traction, it provided a framework that was right down the middle, which is how things should be, which is how a negotiation should be, especially a tense, important, critical, time-sensitive negotiation like this. And also Speaker Pelosi said something that I thought was really interesting. She said, we have to wait here until we have a bill. And she said we have to stay here until we have a bill. Now, stay here could mean keeping the House in session. Now, it doesn't mean that they are necessarily voting, but they can be on standby to come back for a quick vote. So I would not be surprised, my viewers and subscribers, if in the next few weeks, the House is called back in session, they vote on something, it goes to the Senate votes on it, and the President signs it. I would not be surprised. I believe that that is more likely than the President doing a bunch of executive actions because, hey, listen, let me be clear. And I have to say this twice in case some of my viewers misunderstand me. I want help for those who need it the most. I want help for those who need it the most. The ones who are impacted the most. The ones who are low income. The ones who desperately need the unemployment benefits. The ones who, are the ones who need more help. And it doesn't matter to me whether that money comes through an executive order, although legally I feel that that is going to be a huge uphill battle, or it doesn't matter to me whether one side compromises, as long as individuals get help. But in terms of what is possible, you see, there's always a difference in life between what is possible and what should happen. There are two differences, and that is where the reality, the pragmatism comes in. What is likely and what is possible right now is that if something happens, it happens because the two sides, come together as opposed to an executive action. But as of right now, talks between House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the Trump administration are focusing on government relief, are focusing on avoiding the government shutdown and not on stimulus relief. And is there an outside chance that those talks might morph into stimulus talks and a consensus? Hey, stranger things have happened this year. So please hang in there. Take a deep breath with me. Take a deep breath. Just let it out. Take a deep breath, and I will report the news to you as it happens. And House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer said on a recent call today, in fact, that he expects government funding on the floor September 22nd. So, but let me be clear, the House Democrats are not shutting up shop for the election as they normally do. They will remain on standby to vote on something should the opportunity arise. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of these interesting mixed messages, if you will, from both sides. this interesting attempt from the Problem Solvers Caucus. I will give them credit for the attempt, but they don't have enough traction, they don't have enough momentum, they don't have enough support to move it forward. There is always a difference between the best intentions and between what can actually happen. There is always a gap there, and that gap is where reality lives. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, please comment below. Please also share this video with friends and family. I'd love to get the input from other members, from other friends and family. So please share this video below and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out my introductory video. I have the fortune, the honor, the privilege of living the American dream. I am a beneficiary of American exceptionalism, and I want to help you live your American dream. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications so you get instant updates from our channel going forward. Sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications, so please make sure to bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. Once again, that's youtube.com/ignition time, so that you can visit our channel at your convenience and never miss a single video. Follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. And we release exclusive content specifically for our Instagram followers. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. So follow us on Twitter because you can get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter. Now, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. So make sure you please click like, you subscribe, you enable notifications. Speaking of notifications, get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. And you can get added to our SMS list. You can also get added to our email list if you want. Go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and then you can get added to our email list. You can opt out of our email list or our SMS list at any time that you want. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications, because that is your vote of confidence in me, in my team, and all the hard work that we do to put together this exclusive content specifically for our viewers and subscribers. So if you do that, it helps out the YouTube algorithm, it helps us, and it is your vote of confidence in us. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.